In this video, I'm turning an old motorcycle trailer into a custom teardrop camper. This is going to be multiple videos, so make sure you subscribe to see the whole transformation.
Alright, so this is the trailer we're going to be starting with. It's just a little motorcycle trailer that I bought on Craigslist a while back for like 300 bucks. I'm going to take these little rails off, and so it's a nice flat surface to start with. Alright, after a whole lot of cutting and grinding, finally got all the metal taken off. Got the paint and dirt all ground down. Gonna go over it with some sandpaper and then give it a fresh coat of black paint. Got the black paint all done. It's all dry. Looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna start on the floor. Got my little plans here. Basically what it's gonna look like, I'm gonna have the floor come all the way out to here, because it's only like 40 inches in between there, so I wanted it wider. So the floor is gonna come all the way out to the edge of the wheel wells, and then I'll like build it up and over the wheel well. Alright, I got my little cut list right there. Just gonna take some of those 2x2s and cut them out on the chop saw. Alright, and the floor frame is all done. Went pretty quick. Gotta put the plywood on and put the insulation in. got the plywood on one side. So now I just got to take the insulation and cut it into strips to fit in between these studs. Alright, I've been fiddling with this floor, trying to get it to line up with everything the best I can. This trailer's not that square, and it's got some bends, like this corner's lower than that corner, so I bought these little rubber bushings, and I'm just gonna kind of level it out with those. And now I'm gonna build the frame that goes over the wheel well, and then also start on the walls. Got my little drawing with all my measurements. Gonna cut some more 2x2s on the chop saw. There's the first wall. Actually went together pretty easy. Just figuring out these weird cuts and stuff to make these weird angles was the trickiest part, but not too bad. Now I just got to do it again on the other side. And there's the second wall. Now I'm trying to figure out the order of operations so I don't mess anything up and have to redo it, because putting the plywood on the inside will be a lot easier before I put the back walls on. So I'm just trying to figure out what I should do next. I put one support beam in on the top to hold the two walls together. I think I'm gonna put the other 4 in on the flat section. Alright, I made this little wheel well box to go over this. Just gonna glue and screw that in. I plan on putting a USB port, like 12 volt USB charging port, like on the inside right here, so I'm gonna run the wires here before I close the wall up. Since I'm using two black wires for positive and negative, I just put a little piece of tape on one and then a little piece of tape on the other end so that I know when I go to hook it up that is the same wire on both ends. Alright, we got the second wall all insulated and plywood on the inside. I made another wheel well cover. This time I actually put some of the plywood on the inside to box it off. I should have done that over here. It'll just be harder to do it now that it's installed.
Try not to pay attention to how crooked these boards are.
Drilling these holes to run the wires that from the battery box is going to be right here. It's going to go up through the wall, through the studs to a light right here, and then I'm going to put another light up there. But then I realized I was going to just keep going straight through, but then I realized I'm going to have my roof vent right there. So instead I'm going to have the one or both, all the wires come up through here, and then one set of wires go to a light that's right here, and then the other set I'm going to run along here and along here, and then I'm just going to route a little channel with my router up here, because I tried to drill through but there's like screws and stuff, and I think it'll just be easier to route a little groove and then run the wire along there and then along there to the other light that's going to be up front. Alright, we got the wires running. I totally forgot about the wires for the fan, so I decided to just take these ones that I was going to use for this light and run it to the fan, and then I'm just going to get some more wires for the light right here. And then those other wires I routed along the edge and up there for the light that's going to go up there. Got the roof all paneled and insulated. Got my wires for the lights coming out. We got both wheel well covers insulated, and I did the plywood on that one. I want to keep the front, well, I guess the back open, just so I can access the inside for when I install the roof vent and the door and the window. But I think I can close off this front side.
Now I'm just taping up all the seams with aluminum foil tape to make sure everything is airtight.
I got this flush trim router bit, so I can just cut this off flush with the bottom.
Using this flush trim bit on the router just made everything so much easier. This was a strange angle and I couldn't really get the router to work, so I decided to just use my flush trim saw.
Alright, we got all the plywood on the outside. I had to do some seams just because I didn't want to go back and buy more full sheets, so I figured it's okay just to have a couple seams. But now that we got all the plywood on, I'm gonna start on the bed platform in here. Gonna build a platform the same height as these for the bed to go on. Probably have like a little compartment over by the door that you can lift up and access the storage underneath the bed. Got the bed frame all done. It's wider than a full plywood, so I put this little divider so I could do a sheet to here, and then that little section is going to be where the trapdoor is to get to the storage.
I added some construction adhesive to the back of the peel and stick tiles because they never really like to stick very well on their own.
Got all the wood paneling done. It's looking really good. A little trapdoor over there. Got all the openings taped up so that when I cut it from the outside, it doesn't blow out on the inside. I measured it all out so that they line up with the marks I made on the outside. I think I'm gonna switch up my plan and just put the last piece of plywood on and then fiberglass the whole thing and then cut out my openings for the door and window. I just feel like if I cut the holes first and then fiberglass, it'll be a lot harder and there'll be exposed insulation, and I feel like the resin will, you know, melt it and stuff. And then I'd also have to account for the thickness of the fiberglass in the size of the hole I cut. And I just feel like it's going to be a lot harder and a lot more work. So I'm just going to cover up the last wall. I'm going to finish off this wall and then fiberglass the whole thing and then cut the door and window and vent roof vent holes. So yeah, it's almost time to start fiberglassing. I'm just gonna finish off this last wall. Alright, got the last wall on. I bondoed all the seams and I filled all the nail holes with wood filler. Gave it all a nice sand with 150 grit. And now I'm gonna start the fiberglass. So I think I'm gonna cut this video off here, make this a part 1, and make sure to subscribe to come back and see part 2 of me fiberglassing this thing. Thanks for watching. See you in part 2.